In today's video, I want to take a look at a poll that just came out recently from a very reputable source, the Harvard-Harris poll. This was taken between January 15 and 16 of this month. If you're interested in getting all of the results that were taken, I'll have a link down in the video description that you can access. But this is a really positive sign, at least in my opinion, for Bernie Sanders. And at the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about the head-to-head between Biden and Sanders and why I think it's a positive for him that he's so close and within striking distance of that top spot. But first, I just want to talk about the rest of the results. So it is important to note the date range here, the 15th and 16th of the month. A lot of these candidates had already come out and declared that they were going to run, which usually benefits you in the numbers, but that really didn't carry over into this Harvard-Harris poll. At this point in time, Warren, Gillibrand, Gabbard, and Castro had announced, and they're all finishing in the back end of this. Warren at 4, Gillibrand and Gabbard at 2, Castro at 1 point. Also, Booker, he hasn't declared yet, him sitting at 3 percentage points, and somewhat of an outlier here, Bloomberg at 5 percentage points. This is one of the better results I've seen from him, but I'd also be pretty surprised if he decided to run in that 2020 Democratic primary. And then kind of the best of the rest, the up-and-comers, Beto O'Rourke and Kamala Harris coming in at 8 and 7 percentage points, respectively. This was taken before Kamala Harris had decided to come out and announce that she was running. So I think if this was taken again, Harris probably does a little bit better and probably surpasses O'Rourke in those points. But now I want to focus on that Biden-Sanders head-to-head matchup. And the reason why I think it's a positive that Sanders is really close, you might think, well, it would be better if he was in the lead outright at this point in time. But there's a lot of reasons why I think he'd be able to catch Biden and surpass him at the end of the day. First and foremost, we don't know if Joe Biden is running. So back in 2016, there was a lot of speculation that he was going to run. He decided not to. If he does that again in 2020, that makes Bernie Sanders the clear front runner. But if both of the candidates decide to run, the reason why I think Biden is likely to fade over the coming months is because at this point in time, he's not in elected office. And when you get out of elected office, that usually improves your approval and favorability numbers. So that's first and foremost. And then beyond that, there's just a lot of nostalgia amongst the Democratic voting base, given the fact that Biden was vice president for 8 years under Barack Obama, who has very strong approval numbers amongst the Democratic voting base. So that's also giving him a boost here, along with his overwhelming name recognition. But once he gets back into the political scene and on the debate stage in particular, there's a lot of areas that are a weakness for Joe Biden that he can be attacked on a debate stage. Now, if it's just a head-to-head between him and Sanders on the debate stage, I don't think that Bernie Sanders necessarily goes hard in on Biden in that scenario, kind of like he didn't really attack Clinton as much as he could have certainly back in 2016. But with 10, 15 people on the debate stage, there's definitely going to be a lot of people looking to make a name for themselves and go after the front runners in these polls. And the things that you can attack Joe Biden on, his support for the Iraq war initially, his support for free trade agreements, including more recently TPP. And then we go back a little bit further with his record and his support for criminal justice that was just devastating, of course, during the Bill Clinton years on the African-American community. Those are just 3 ones that stand out as big areas that you could go ahead and attack Joe Biden on that are likely to hurt him amongst a Democratic voting base, and why I think he's probably capped out and has topped his numbers with the polls that we've been seeing. We'll see if he decides to run or not. If he ever does declare, there's going to be a lot of stories published about his voting history. And again, it's just going to be a situation where that's likely to hurt him at least a little bit, whereas Bernie Sanders, there's already a lot of attack articles out there, commercials attacking him. He's not likely to see a whole lot of reduction in his numbers based on people trying to bring stuff up about him and attacking on it. Because if it's already been out there, I'm sure the people that are against him anyways have already tried to make that case, and he's still standing right there in the upper tier. And another thing clearly that's helping Bernie Sanders is his overall name recognition, the fact that he was able to spread his message, get a very strong grassroots support behind his 2016 candidacy. And if he decided to run in 2020, he'd be able to more quickly reassemble that grassroots base and support behind him. So I can't wait to see how this plays out. We're still over a year away from the Iowa caucuses, but it's never too early, of course, to talk about how these primaries might shake out. And I love all of the polling data that we're already getting on this race. So as more polls continue to come out, I'll continue to do discussions about them. So if you're interested, please click that subscribe button and consider coming back and viewing my next video in the future. Bye.